Hey y'all, welcome to Super-Sod. I am Tamara and this is Scott.
Hey guys.
We are here at our Cartersville location. We are actually a farm and a store here. We are actually standing in front of one of our big semis that actually delivers the sod to you. We had to block the wind a little bit for us to get this video going, so that was very useful today. But here at Super-Sod, I do multiple things as far as helping coordinate cutting schedule for the fields for the farm and delivering sod and helping get that to you in a timely manner. We are located at 54 Brown Farm Road, which is off of Highway 113 and 61 out by the Cartersville Airport, if you're familiar with this area. Other than that, we are going to talk about our April lawn tips, and I'm going to pass it off to Scott, and we're going to tell you how to keep your lawn looking great this summer.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Appreciate that. And thank you all for joining our April edition of our Lawn Tips Live. We greatly appreciate your time. So today I want to start by talking about our cool season grass. The cool season grass that we sell here at Super-Sod is our Elite Tall Fescue, and there's no doubt that this is the moment for that to shine. Right now that fescue looks absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. In fact, the other day I was driving down the road and I saw a diamond striped fescue lawn, and man, it sure did look good. And so if you've got fescue lawn, it is absolutely shining right now. So let's talk about the mowing of our Elite Tall Fescue. If it's an established lawn, we recommend keeping it mowed between 2.5 to 3 inches right now. Of course, temperatures are still a little low, so that's what we would recommend. In just a little bit, the temperatures are going to warm up, and then we would recommend raising that mower blade to 3 to 4 inches. It kind of creates a little shade canopy of itself, and so that works really well. So that's the mowing of fescue. Of course, if you've just planted seed, now's not the time to do that. But if you did that a couple months ago, I would wait till it's about that 3 to 4 inches to cut. You'll just nick off the top a little bit, and that will help promote growth as well. So we've talked about the moment for fescue. We've talked about the mowing of fescue. Now let's talk about the maintenance of fescue. You know, everybody wants to get into their yard, and especially with these beautiful days that we've had recently, and they want to work and get things done on their lawn. There's not a whole lot you can do right now in fescue, but there is a few things. If you want to apply a high nitrogen fertilizer, I would absolutely abstain from that. I would not apply a high nitrogen fertilizer right now. You do not want to promote a ton of growth that will cause damages later when it warms up. So we don't recommend that at all, not right now. We would recommend getting a soil sample done, and doing so you can check your lime level and potentially put lime down. So that's something you can do. You know, to be honest, sometimes it's hard to keep up with a schedule. It's hard to keep up of what you've done and when you've done it, and you run the risk of putting too much nitrogen and burning your lawn. So one thing that we've done recently to make it easier on you, we wanted to take the guesswork out of it. We wanted to take the high maintenance schedule out of it. And so we have come up with this subscription-based product called Lawn Coach. What Lawn Coach is, it's, like I said, a subscription-based concept where we ship to you what you need when you need it. And so you don't have to keep up with the schedule anymore. When it shows up at your door, that's when you apply it. In fact, we've got one of these spreaders right here, which are absolutely incredible. The quality on these things are unbelievable. And so I know we were talking just a second ago, and several people said their spouses absolutely love it just because of the quality compared to some of the other popular brands. And so I would highly encourage you, if you try to do a DIY with your lawn service and the fertilization, things of that nature, I would highly encourage you to Google us at supersod.com, or give us a call and ask us about Lawn Coach subscription. We've done all of that, and it has absolutely been popular with our customers. It's absolutely blossomed with our customers because of how easy and user-friendly it is for you. So that's our cool season grass, our Elite Tall Fescue. Now we want to talk to you about our warm season grass. And I've asked my good buddy Andre to come on and talk to us about our warm season grasses.
Thanks, Scott. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're going to talk about our warm season grasses, and basically that is your Tiff-Tuft Bermuda, your Zenith Zoysia, your Zeon Zoysia, and even your centipede. And so like Scott said, we're in a transitional period. So a lot of what we're going to do for those grasses, we're going to wait till about May, end of April time, when it's all the way green, out of dormancy, and a nice, consistent, warmer temperature. So you're not going to put down those heavy nitrogen fertilizers like your 1648, which we do carry. You'll wait for that in May, end of April time, when the grass is fully out of dormancy and it's a lot warmer. If you have centipede, you're going to want to make sure you stick with the 5-10-30 starter fertilizer. Now, you're not going to want to just put that out. You want to make sure you get a nice soil test done to make sure that you can use that. It wouldn't hurt for you to get a soil test done on whatever type of variant of lawn that you have, just to make sure you're giving the grass the right application, which would include lime as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to prep our lawn. So we're going to make sure that we're getting rid of the accumulation and the buildup of thatching, which is the dead grass that kind of builds up after a heavy rain like we've all experienced. We're going to try to rake that out. We're going to get rid of debris, which is leaves and all kinds of things. We're going to get rid of all that to make sure your grass is getting as much sunlight as possible. Along with that, you're going to want to make sure you continually mow your grass if it's starting to grow up a little bit, and also to get rid of some of those weeds so that the seed doesn't continue to germinate. So that will help you. If you need help mowing, we also have our Husqvarna auto mowers, which you can get a free consultation for if you give us a call, and we can set that up for you. Those help keep your grass healthy and keep it at a consistent height. So we're going to continue to talk about that. But one special note, if you have Zenith Zoysia or Zeon Zoysia, you might notice a couple of really ugly brown patches. Now, that is from the buildup of a lot of rain, a lot of moisture, and that's fungus that is kind of just built up in your grass from, no application of Headway G in the early part of the fall and even up into this point right now. But don't worry, we got a fix for that. Like Scott said, as we move into our warmer season, you can put down some 1648. That will kind of help push that out, get some green growth going in there, and then you can start to grow and you'll start to see that dissipate. So right now, I'm going to ask my friend Hillary to come up and talk to you guys about the April weeds. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andre. I forgot to come on earlier, so thank you for waiting around for me. I'm Hillary here to talk to you about April's weeds of the month. This month we have twins. We have two weeds that are in the same genus. They're both lamiums. So we've got dead nettle in my left hand and henbit in my right. And Alex is going to call up a picture, a close-up of the flowers, so you can see that for yourself as I talk about some of the ID features. So on the left, you'll see the dead nettle. And to me, the way it's built with the flowers on top, that structure, that end of the growing tip, kind of looks like a hop flower and fruiting structure to me, like hops that flavor beer. It is not in the hop family though, it's in the mint family. It's in the mint family along with mints, obviously, also basil and oregano, amongst other plants. It's a large group of edible plants. So every month we talk about the hint being in the name, and I'm going to talk about that as I talk about the ID features and the picture you're seeing. So on the left, the dead nettle, you'll see that the flowers are a little bit more of a lavender color. And on the right in the henbit, you'll see that they're a little bit more of a deep purple color. So the flower structure is the same. They're both hooded, meaning you'll see the hooded top with a lower lip. And that's where the word lamium comes from, the Latinate meaning for gaping mouth. So that flower kind of looks a little bit like a gaping mouth. You'll also see on the dead nettle on the left that it's more of a gray-green color. And the henbit on the right is more of a true green color. So talking about those leaves a little bit more, the dead nettle leaves, when they're lower down on the plant, they're attached with a petiole, actually all throughout the plant. And the leaves at the bottom are more heart-shaped, and as they mature, they become more triangular shaped. Now, the leaves on the henbit are very unique. They at the bottom are attached with a petiole, but as you get to the top, they are not attached with a petiole. And that's where the name, the Latin name, Lamium amplexicale comes from. Amplexicale means attached to the stem without a petiole. So you'll also notice the shape of the leaves are different. They're kind of more scalloped shaped, like a shell or fan shaped. And to me, I'm picturing a turkey tail, male turkey tail, the way the feathers fan out like that. That's similar to this. So it can be a little bit tricky at first to learn some of these ID features, but the more you look at it, it will just become very seated. Are, the two differences. A similarity is the square stem. So that's what a key ID feature for the mint family is, that they all have square stems, and you can hold it in your hand and you can feel the four corners and flat sides. It's very unique, it's very interesting. Point out that ID feature to children, they're fascinated by that. And you can also see it with your bare eye that it is square. So a little bit more about the hint being in the name. We talked about the hen bit. Hen, the word hen is in there. Chickens love the seeds, and so do wild birds. So this is a wild bird food and a domestic chicken food. And the dead nettle name comes from the fact that the leaves look more like a nettle plant, a nettle that you'd see growing in the wild, often by creeks. Nettles sting. They sting like a red ant bite. They're surprisingly painful. These dead nettle have no sting. That's what the stinger is, dead. So it's called dead nettle not because it will poison you. In fact, you can eat it. The dead comes from the stinger not being there at all. So another interesting fact about these two plants is they're flowering in March. They're great bee pasture for the early bees. There's a lot of solitary bees out there already working, and by solitary I mean like they live alone, little holes in the ground. They're not like a colony of bees. See them out quite a bit pollinating these plants. So let's talk a little bit about the lifestyle of these two weeds. They grow in very similar places. You can see they kind of get big. They're a little bit bigger than some of the bitter cress we were talking about, or the poa. So they grow in sun. They like more sunny locations, maybe a little bit of shade, but they grow in disturbed areas as well. They're another weed that follow people around. They love the way we disturb the soils. They love ditches. They love roadsides. They love to come where you've had some utility work done. They love to come to new houses, new homes, new neighborhoods. They love it when you put in a new sod because you've disturbed the soil. Any weed seeds that might have been in there are brought to light, and they love to germinate. So you'll see these where people are. Interestingly, I'm starting to see the dead nettle start dying out already. These are both winter annual weeds, meaning they germinate in the fall, they start growing all winter, they really pop in March when it starts warming up, when we get warm weeks. But it was hot last week where I live in zone 8, and this started fading a lot, especially the dead nettle. It's starting to go a little bit already, which is probably a good thing if you don't like it. So another interesting saying we developed here is eat it or treat it. So this is yet another edible weed. It's in the mint family. I have not tried this one, but it's another one that I read you want to cook because it's a little bit thicker. So you want to treat it like it's kale, which you often cook or put in your smoothies. It's also valued as a medicinal plant for some people. And in doing some research, I saw seeds of these two plants for sale all over the place. That tells you something, that this weed that's bothering you is very valuable to some other people. So you might want to consider how you value it in your landscape or not, and maybe keep it in some of the marginal areas where the early bees can enjoy it, and you can have some bird food as well, some wild bird food. So maybe keep it in some of your marginal areas around the lawn, but you do want to get it out of your lawn. And one of the best, so eat it or treat it. So let's talk about the 3 ways to treat it. So prevention is one of the best ways. We talked about this being a winter annual that germinates in the fall. So that means you want to put your pre-emergent down in September to go ahead and stop the seeds from germinating. So I recommend you treat your lawn with a pre-emergent, just keep them from germinating in the first place, but maybe think about keeping it some of the marginal areas. But if you don't want those there, mulch like crazy. Thick mulch, 4 thick mulch in your flower beds will really help suppress weeds. It keeps them from germinating in the first place. It keeps them from seeing light, which causes germination. Also, when weed seeds fall, they fall on top of the mulch. They don't ever touch the ground to actually germinate. Also, just growing the best lawn you can possibly grow. So you have a nice thick lawn, you mow it a lot, keep it thick, you put your pre-emergence down. That helps keep it thick because you don't have these are big weeds to outcompete your lawn. You've also fertilized it like you should. Just cultivate that lawn. That'll keep the weeds out of it. So we talked about prevention. Let's talk about some manual things. Of course, hand weeding. These big weeds, they're way more growth up top, very, very easy to pull up. Just yank them out. Spend a couple hours a week just getting them out of the way of your lawn. Or the most efficient way really is to mow it. These I've seen in dormant lawns dormant, these are huge. Just start mowing your lawn early. They'll never get that big. You want to get rid of them when your lawn is greening up. You want to get that competition away. Just mow it. It's so effective. Because the third mode of treating your weeds right now are chemical. Quincept and 3-Way Max. What's going on right now though is that your lawn is coming out of dormancy, and also it's still very cold. Those chemicals don't work so great in the cold weather, and also it's a very vulnerable time, your lawn, as it's coming out. So we recommend mowing, hand weeding, and prevention if you haven't done that already. And later in the summer, it's safer for warm season lawns for you to use the chemical treatments. And that's a wrap for our Weed of the Month and for our Lawn Tips Live of the month. And so we thank you all for joining us. And come back next month for May Lawn Tips. Thank you.